Hi, today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about Bullet Train 2022. There are spoilers for Bullet Train 2022 in this content. All right, so first of all, Bullet Train 2022 is every Dungeon Master content. Um, I think it might be rated R. So, if you're a 12 to 18, you got to wait until you're 18. 12 to 17, you got to wait until you're 18. But it's still every Dungeon Master content. It's just some of you got to wait. So, why is this every Dungeon Master content? It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant film. And it contains the pillars, right? Combat, it contains Gary's, 3 pillars. So combat, it's an action movie. I don't need to tell you where the combat is. Interaction. It has really interesting interaction. This film is actually about a little more than a half a dozen to a dozen assassins all gathered onto a train, and they interact. Right now, of course, you get your combat that's there, right? But there's really excellent interaction between the assassins, and this movie, really takes a good look at what it's like to. It looks very carefully, very closely at what it would be like to, if your job was to routinely, frequently murder people, right? It's really fascinating. Basically, it absolutely, kind of dives into the darker end of. It definitely dives into the darker end of humanity, right? And then last, there's exploration. Now, what is the exploration? Actually, this is an exploration of, I would say, 2 things. It is an exploration of trains. I am a huge train fan. I think if you've studied trains at all, you understand that when you study trains, you understand a country's history, you understand a country's infrastructure, you understand a country's laws, and it's trains are really fascinating because they are a dungeon to themselves. They have a lot of depth, and it takes a lot to understand them mechanically and culturally and politically. There's a lot of politics around trains as well. They're really fascinating, right? But it is also an exploration of Japan itself, right? And so you actually see different cities as the train is bulleting through Japan, right? So, absolutely fascinating film, highly recommended. What I want to talk about Bullet Train 2022 is the most interesting aspect of Bullet Train 2022, and that is the character of Lemon. All right, so on the Bullet Train, there's between 6 and 10 assassins, all right? And 2 of those assassins are twins, okay? Lemon and Tangerine. All of the assassins in the film go by different names. I'll list the ones I remember. The Prince, the Wolf, Lemon and Tangerine, Ladybug. These are really... the Hornet was another good one. The White Death, all right, is on the train at one point. The Elder, and I think that might be it. There was quite a few of them on there, right? And but Lemon and Tangerine are twins, and they are brothers. Now, we as dungeon masters, we're writers. If you haven't figured that out, we're definitely writers, right? So we quite literally write a structure for each of our sessions. And one of the most powerful things I've ever learned about writing is resist the urge to explain. So Lemon and Tangerine, they are brothers, but they look nothing alike, and they do not look like they would even remotely come from the same parents, right? And so the idea that they're twins is almost like it's like a riddle or a mystery, and the film just does not explain it, right? But it works. It works really well and really powerfully. These two, it's 2 men. One is he's not an African American. I think he's he's a black British person. And so Lemon is a black British person, and Tangerine, his twin brother, appears to be a Italian male, right? An Italian. Oh, yeah, an Italian male, right? So, and you're like, twins? It's not logical, right? Even if they were fraternal, it's still they don't look anything alike. It's kind of a mystery in the film, right? But these two characters are they're the heart of the film, and they're the best thing in the film, and the best thing in the film by far is Lemon, right? So Tangerine is excellent, and both of these actors do a tremendous job with these roles. Lemon is specifically played by Brian Tyree Henry, and he does an absolutely masterful job with the role. It's really fantastic, and so Lemon is the most fascinating thing in the film, and here's why. Okay, so Lemon and Tangerine are both highly skilled assassins that have killed probably well over 100 people each, right? Professionals, right? And they've been in the game at least 5-10 years, maybe 15, right? And so Lemon, so once they're on the train, a mystery erupts, right? And so they have to determine what's happening on the train they have a briefcase full of money that they have to get back. And if they don't get this briefcase of money back, when they get to Kyoto, the person who hired them, who's called the White Death, will kill them, right? The two of them. So they need to ask a lot of people a lot of questions and find this briefcase very quickly. So in order to do that, they need to be able to read people. They need to, is this just a muggle on the train? They don't know anything. They're not going to be able to help us. Or is this one of the other assassins who's on this train who stole the briefcase, right? And so at that point, once that's said, right, it gets really interesting because Lemon essentially begins talking to people and asking people. And it's very clear that he's a lot better at knowing, he's a lot better at knowing who's lying to him than anybody else around him. Now, how does he do this? Well, he does this with his knowledge and wisdom, and essentially with his knowledge and wisdom gained from Thomas the Tank Engine. Yes, the children's show, right? So he says, hey, and actually they're looking for assassins, right? And he's like, Thomas is a good, kind engine. Diesel is just a gruff, almost like a cruel tank engine, right? And so Lemon is looking for the Diesel, right? He's looking for this gruff, grumpety, frankly, evil character, right? And somebody who you need to watch out for. You need to be careful. They lie a lot, right? Like that kind of thing. And they don't have goodwill for almost anyone, right? They just lack goodwill. So what I found really, really fascinating about Lemon is he uses, so basically he literally carries Thomas the Tank Engine sticker plates, right, with all the major characters, including Diesel, of Thomas the Tank Engine. And he puts these on, he'll give them to people, or he'll put them onto objects that he has. But Thomas the Tank Engine is a critically important aspect, a critically important element in Lemon's life, right? And his brother's like, please shut up about, I do not want to, he's like, I do not want to hear one more thing about Thomas the Tank Engine, right? And he's already heard this, for a long time because the two of them are together. And Lemon says, well, listen, slow your roll. Like, you need to understand what's happening with Thomas the Tank Engine. And so what he says is, Thomas the Tank Engine has taught me everything I need to know about people. And so when I meet people, I'm able to say, okay, is this a Percy? Is this a Gordon? Is this a Diesel? Is this a a Thomas? Now the reality is I don't know Thomas the Tank Engine well enough, but I was able to understand that Lemon knew everything about Thomas the Tank Engine, and he was able to quickly and accurately sort people into buckets and then know how to properly respond to them. Now, of course, he's an assassin, so like this would be critical, which is a very difficult job, and he needs to, and so this was really important that he was able to do this. So what I found really fascinating was in the middle of Bullet Train 2022, there was a person who said, this thing that everybody else thinks is entertainment, I think is wisdom. This thing that everyone else thinks is a toy, I think is a tool. This thing that everyone else thinks is just some, harmless fun, I think is personally beneficial, right? And there's power and wisdom and knowledge in this thing that everyone else thinks is simply X, unimportant, unusable, a toy, not a tool. That's fascinating.